Welcome back. Welcome back. What is good? Enter the Last Dragon. Your host, RoyRob. I have a special one for us today. I have a longtime friend, my homeboy, Mr. Darnell Ivy, on the
Yeah,
line with us today. What's up, brother? What's going on, man?
going on, my dude? Been a minute.
Been a minute, man. Finally got you on the podcast, man. I'm super excited because you bring so much value to my listeners when it comes to that musical side. And right now, the world is exploding black culture area when it comes to black people, hip hop music, martial arts, all of the above because of the freaking WuTang. Shout out! We got a live episode coming y'all way, so y'all get ready. So, Mr. Ivy, man, what people call you, man? What do you go by? Like, well, I know you by your government name, but is there something else that you go by? Like, who are you? And tell my fans about yourself.
Uh, yeah, what's good? Yeah, I recently, changed my name to, Darnell Lamont, kind of what my stage name is. I used to go by Dub Junior, Dubjr.
So, so say it again. Your stage name is what? Because the phone it kind of cut out. Say it again.
I used to go by Dub Junior, Dubjr. I go by Darnell Lamont currently. I just had to switch my name up, switch up the style. So
Okay. So Darnell Lamont. Okay, so if you on the stage, you singing and performing, you Darnell Lamont. I got you. That way I know. Listeners, Darnell Lamont, you gonna have to be really paying attention because he's coming. He's coming home. Tell him what you do, man.
yeah, basically, man, songwriter, producer, engineer. Help produce some cats around, the St. Louis, Kansas City area. Just songwriting. Right now, the helping out some cats here in Kansas City. Shout out to my homie, Daniel said, Young Father. They doing some things. They grinding on their own. I'm just, helping out, just doing some background support with them. But even more so, I used to be in a group back in the day called Due Season. Shout out to my homies, Genesis and just Brian, man. So we actually working on music now, celebrating the 20th anniversary of our first CD, man. Just made me feel older right there, but
So hold on, Genesis and what was the other dude name?
just Brian, Mr. Barksdale,
Okay, and then the group name was what?
Due Season.
Nice, man. Okay, keep going.
But I'm definitely working on my own projects also. I put out 3 so far. I'm working on the 4th one now. I'm actually literally in the middle of working on the 4th one as we speak. So, man, just doing what I'm passionate about, man. I love music. I love production. I love just being just submerged in it, man. Just doing the music is what I've been doing since I was 12. And, just like I said, just giving my all into it.
That's excellent. Now, are you doing any type of training? Are you helping any other up and coming artists? I know you're a family man like me. Tell me any of the other stuff you're doing to give back.
Well, yeah, I gotta actually. There's a guy actually here in Kansas City. His mother actually went to elementary school with me back home in St. Louis. Her son lives here now, and he was going to UMKC. And she was asking me, "Hey, my son's there now. You mind if he, hangs around you?" I told him about you and want him to be around some more positive guys. So I said, definitely, man. So he's come over a couple of times. He works on music. He's a producer himself. So I've been spending time with him. As a matter of fact, I need to get with him. I haven't got with him in a minute, to be perfectly honest. But I've been working with him as well as even in my church. I do sound at the church. I volunteer to do that once a month. So that gives me a good diversity of, studio recording and also engineering live sound. So
Wow.
get a good balance doing that.
Yeah.
And like I said before, just working with some of the homies here in Kansas City, doing features or, engineering some sessions for people here. So yeah, I'm doing quite a bit.
That's great. That's great, man. So do you get a chance or kind of like give me a breakdown when you are kind of like doing I guess like the typical work that you're currently doing, how like the industry, how a lot of the stuff has completely changed. Like um are you thinking of the musical industry completely different, like back being when we were younger? And I know you were, like you said, 20 years ago, there was a different dynamic, I'm assuming, when it came to the music art and what it sells. It was all about kind of selling like certain cassettes, selling CDs, going platinum, et cetera, et cetera. Now it's kind of like streams, man. How does that affect what you currently do?
Man, it was a world of a difference, bro. Like, shoot, like you said, 20 years ago, this it was still cassettes going around,
Right.
and that was the difference. The difference now between now and then is the access you have. Like back then, when we was recording, you had to go to a studio. You had to go to the studio, record your music on the ADAT tape to get your recording done. You had to have an engineer mix your stuff. You had to go through all those channels originally. Nowadays, like cats making hits in their grandma basement with with a t-shirt and some shorts on and making millions. And they just send their stuff through the internet. Like you said, streaming is a huge
Yeah.
difference. It's like you know what I'm saying, it's way more ways to get access, way more ways to make money, all kind of things, man. So the internet and the growth of technology is the biggest difference. Being able to do things from the comfort of your home compared to having to go out and do it before.
See, that reminds me. So, like, it's so many things I got to go into with you specifically, man. Because if we can't peel back the onion in one episode. I'm gonna just be honest, bro. Because, like, we haven't even talked to you, but just in the dynamic of what sound and music does to movies. Like, not just sound and music takes it to the next level. A perfect example of that is RZA. You know what I'm saying? Like, you talk about production, doing all the stuff you do. RZA, he saw that from a far away, and even his works that he did on Kill Bill, he had his own. Like, who would have thought he could take what he envisioned and take it to the level he's took it to with the WuTang, with the movie films production, with all the stuff. He's taking it to a whole above and beyond than what, you know what I'm saying, just being a talented young brother. But we're gonna dive into that in a second, man. I was just like, bro, we can't peel it all back in one episode, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you because I got so many ideas, so many questions for you. But let's take it one step at a time. Tell me how you got your interest. You're a brother, just like me. Where did your interest come in initially on the martial arts side as a kid?
Oh man, martial arts, man, without question. That was one of the things everybody looked forward to. Like we came up in the era still where, like, even when you look at the WuTang TV show, like how they was all big into going to the movies, watching the kung fu movies and things like that. We came into the era where that was slowly dying down and going into VHS. So
Mm-hmm.
I grew up watching the VHS tapes or watching Bruce Lee on a Saturday afternoon. You know what I'm saying? So
Yep.
that was cool. It's like the thing with martial arts movies. What made it so cool was it was like a real life cartoon. You know what I'm saying? We used to seeing cartoon guys flying around and doing all these weird flips that we thought that people couldn't do. They set it up on these movies where these actual cats look like they look normal, like a normal human being, but they flying like, superhero cartoons or something like that. So, and then to see
Right.
where they was fighting each other, the different styles, the different arts, man, it was always like, man, you wanted to learn how to do that. You wanted to learn how to beat somebody up without having to have weapons and all that kind of stuff, man. So I've always been interested and fascinated in that area.
So you got your start similar to me. You was watching on the weekends. You was hitting every blockbuster up, getting the VHS joints. You were buying it in the Woolworths, the Walmart, and what else? Where else was I? Best Buy, not for real. Kmart, you Ventures. You was getting all your stuff from those type of deals, right? And renting them at the local movie places that have a VHS, not just blockbusters. There was local movie places, people like there were places you would go rent movies from that was not even Blockbuster back in the day, which is crazy now that I think about it. And shout out to Blockbuster, man. I know they're dead and deceased, but I found my old Blockbuster card, believe it or not.
I still got my Blockbuster card, my jury box in
That's
my
how
room. So
insane it is. The legacy cards, man, they're gonna be worth for $10,000 one day. Watch, like, let me get that Blockbuster card up off you. Straight comedy, man. Yeah, so you kind of had your start like I did, and you really fell in love with it. What movies really stood out to you that you could think of off the top of your head?
Man, I mean, without question, I guess the more modern ones, you got to go to, The Last Dragon, Into the Dragon. Those were the ones that kind of were the bridge between the old classics, you know what I'm saying, and what we kind of see that transition into today. I think those two movies really helped transition from the original Shaolin type movies into what we see in modern day. What Bruce Lee,
100%.
Bruce Lee, Chuck Norris fight, you know what I'm saying? That was classic. So
Right.
even Bruce Lee with, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, like all them, them the kind of ones that stood out to me, man. Bruce Lee kind of set the stage for me as far as my knowledge of what kung fu and martial arts were, period. So
He
that's kind
set
of
the
where my,
tone.
yeah, definitely. And, I definitely know
Man, he's
there's,
the reason why I created Into the Last Dragon.
yeah, most definitely, man. So I think there's definitely, more guys that came before him, but definitely I think he's like, you got to think of it like Jordan. There's obviously, you got Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, all these other greats that came before Jordan, but it's like Jordan kind of was that pivotal player in time that kind of transcended what basketball became today. So I think Bruce
All
Lee
day.
kind of did that same thing for martial arts and kung fu movies.
Yeah, man, I agree. I agree. If you really look at, and of course, there's always like they did some remake classics that like Iron Monkey, and where they said that like a lot of the films was like this how it was in early 1600, or like they would show all these old films like during the Ming Dynasty and blah blah blah, and it'd be
Uh,
so old that it was nothing like, okay, this is like kind of current. And then the thing that I love about what Bruce was doing, there was a lot of truth in what was going on, and as a kid, you ain't even. I didn't pay it any mind or any understanding. Like Chinese Connection, for example, was one of those films. As an adult, it meant a little bit more because I knew a lot more about history. I understand that history, like so. Apparently, Chinese men were referred to as sick men. There's a part in there where Bruce Lee is like talking to the Japanese people that had came and kind of it kind of like ambushed or kind of ambushed or like not ambushed. They kind of like ransacked school at the time, and they went there. The master had just died. They beat up all the students. Blah blah blah. Bruce comes and he goes back after he found out what they did and just thrashed everybody at their school, thrashed their teacher, and he basically said, "Yo, we are not sick men." Like, and just thinking about that, like, dude, it was like this dude was like the for real dude fighting oppression. Like, it was relatable, man. Like, I related to that dude. You know what I'm saying?
yep, exactly.
Yeah. So,
Yep.
what now? As far saying me and you are history, man. I kind of want to take this opportunity to really just, like I said, I'm gonna peel back the layer of the onion on multiple levels. We talked about you on your martial arts side and your love for it. What do you think about the movie classics that like that sound? Like, do you remember like The Last Dragon and the music at that time? I mean, we had the barge on there, but those songs still are kind of like you could play that music and be like, "Dog, that's the Last Dragon." You know what I'm saying? Though, like
Uh,
some of them songs was that deal, man. I don't care what nobody said. It might not have did whatever like crazy. The what they try to do now and correlating or relating the music sound to the movie scene, et cetera, et cetera. What movies stand out in today's time? And it don't even have to be martial arts. What can you think of on the music side that you just like? Do they really put that together very well?
man, I mean, you got to talk about music in general, like how music plays such an important role in theater. Period. Like,
Yeah.
uh, I think one of the earliest I got an understanding of that at an early age. Like, I kind of you want to talk about how RZA kind of got a grip of that, early on. Like, bro, I remember the episode of Reading Rainbow, bro, where
Right.
they did a whole episode just about music and how music influences TV show, blah 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 blah. They did an example. They showed an example of an alligator walking out of the water into the grass, bro. They played one episode. They played one of them walking out with some little happy clown music or whatever. Like you ain't think nothing else about it. Cool. They did the same exact scene, alligator coming out of water with that scary, creepy kind of music, and they gave yourself a whole different perception of that same exact scene, bro. So
That's 100,
music,
man.
yeah. So music for me always set a tone on how uh, scenes are played out. You know what I'm saying? The music literally music literally tells you how to feel about the movie, no matter what the actor or the actors are doing in that scene or whatever. The music tells you how to feel about that scene. So it's even more important.
Like
How
I can relate to that. Even what's the one song? What's the song that we used to grow? How a Bill becomes a law, or what's the other one?
I'm just a feel.
I'm a.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like you can
Uh-huh.
literally, you like it can come on and you could be like, oh, I know that. Or it's a lot of classic. The music and the sound, it does that to you. I totally agree, man. Like right now, I'm thinking of all the different things that just relate to all the movies, and every cult classic had those sounds that was similar, man. Like thinking of every like boy, there was some classic songs and certain music that you just literally, it's like snap your finger and it's back in your mind. You can remember where you was at. New Jack City, like
Yeah.
you can literally be like, dude, I remember everything about that. Like Life, the movie. I Yeah, man. Like all those classics, man. Like I'm really like just blown away just thinking about it now. Like I think Swiss Beats was on. He was on the radio recently on the Breakfast Club,
Uh-huh.
and was talking about how he he sometimes turns away projects, and just how it is so important for him if he's going to take on something, how he breathe, how it has to come to life, and he thinks outside of the box, works with different individuals to make it different and not to be the same expected. You know what I mean? So like, for example, did you Rambo Last Blood? You know what movie? You know what song they got for that movie trailer?
I want to pay attention to what is.
Old Town Road. Like he like, dude, he's like, I hate seeing where they just get a movie and they find what is extremely popular right now at the time and they just throw it on the movie. And
Yep.
I didn't pay it no mind until he said that. I was like, that really Last Blood does not, which is a Rambo movie, does not necessarily go with Old Town Road. It is the most popular song of 2019. And that movie is now tagged with Old Town Road. If you go look at the trailer, you're gonna hear I'm gonna take my horse to the Old Town Road. And I was just like, oh man, RZA hit it spot freaking on. And so you don't necessarily remember Last Blood, the movie, by when Old Town Road come on. I'm gonna remember the song Old Town Road. You see what I'm trying to go with that? You see what I'm talking about?
No, I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah, and that's crazy though, man. Because like you said, like
Crazy,
it's
man.
so
What's your thoughts on, man? Give me.
good.
No, I was saying, what's your thoughts? Give me some movies that you think really just stand out in your head that you could like you could say, man, that was my movie because and I remember this vividly. Like this is something that really just stands out music wise. They did a great job. They really put it together, even on the disc. Like what's that wedding movie called? Um it had all classics on it. Was it The Best Man? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, with Tay Diggs and
Am I
all that.
tripping? Yeah, and it didn't that soundtrack have a lot of classics, like good songs on
Uh,
it.
that
That's
did. Brown Sugar did too.
Brown Sugar. That's a freaking another one.
They gave you that feel, yeah.
It gave
But
me
I say,
that feel.
yeah, I say for me, even when you want to stay on the whole martial arts tip, like when you talk about music and martial arts, I think one movie for me that I think is a personal classic for me is Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Because
Crouching
not just
Tiger, Hidden Dragon, bro.
yeah,
Yeah,
the choreography for that whole movie was amazing. But the thing that made that movie so cool is you can watch the movie from top to bottom, and you ain't necessarily even got to worry about so much of the martial arts because the actual soundtrack of the movie actually carried like every scene, bro. Every scene had a song that was significant to that scene, and it set the tone for that scene every throughout the entire movie, bro. Even when it didn't
I
have
remember them. I remember the scene when they was having. He was in what was they in the desert at one point, and he was just what? Were they on camel or something? Remember they were in the desert or something, and it was like a certain sound that happened. And the one scene where they were getting ready to fight, he was getting ready to fight the lady who had killed his master with that.
oh
She had
lady.
Yeah, man. And she shot those darts out that with
Boy,
the poison in it. Yeah, man. Like each one of those scenes did that, man. I agree with you 100%.
yeah, so I think that one stood out to me a lot.
I
One
um
in
I
one
even
composer. I said one composer. I
which
think.
one was it?
I said one composer. I was saying you was asking me about my thing with music and movies and things like that. I think Hans Zimmer, in my opinion, there's plenty of composers, but I think Hans Zimmer, for me personally, is a really, really good composer. He does quite a bit of action movies. He's done the Spider-Man movies, he's done Batman, a couple of movies, but he's done other movies also. But
Wow.
even listening to him talk about movies, like with the music, like he'll even break it down to explaining like each key note or each chord. This chord is a depression chord, or this D flat. This is sad. Stuff like that. Like
Mm,
to be able to have the science of music down. Like I
mm.
I, I appreciate that stuff. So that's what music does for me in these movies. So
Speaking of Spider-Man, the Into the Spideyverse that Sony produced, that cartoon joint was off the chain, and the music soundtrack, even that one little song that kind of plays on every one of the commercials for it, and it starts it off, and that joint, I don't even know the name of the song, but it's the song that I'm talking about, Into the Spideyverse song.
yeah, and actually, a fun fact about that, they made that song. They was writing that song as the movie happened. They ain't finished the song until they was ready. The movie was done. In that
That's
one scene, the
that's what
scene
I'm talking about.
Yeah, the scene in the beginning of the movie where he's singing it, they did
Mhm.
that because they hadn't even had the song done yet until that. So I thought that was a pretty cool fun fact I found out about it.
That's what I'm freaking talking about. Yeah, they didn't just go grab something popular that was popping. And it
Uh,
really, like, that song really goes with that movie, and it's so relatable, man. Like, it was like it just brought everything to life, from him wearing the Michael Jordans, the first Jordans, you know what I'm saying, to, you know what I mean. It felt like us, man. And it was a reason why it was so popular, you know what I'm saying. Like, even the even the Black Panther movie felt like that in what they were trying to do.
yeah,
Be more appreciated later on what, you know what I'm saying. Like, what's that hip hop? What's my guy name? Not J Cole. From Compton, not Compton. What dude from? Who?
who you talking?
The artist that he stand up, drink, sit down, drink. What's his name? Say it again.
Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick broke down some dope joints on that album, and I think Black Panther movie will be more appreciated later than it is now. Kind of like one of those, oh man, we slept on this type deal. You know what I'm saying?
Uh huh. No, yeah, I love that man. Like you said, the whole thing just the whole movie just had its own interpretation. Like even the song selection, everything was originally composed. Like so, they didn't have. I don't think there was any song on there that wasn't an original piece for that movie. So that's
Right.
always something that can be appreciated. So yeah, most definitely.
Let's take some time right now, man. Now that we kind of like you basically showed your pedigree is definitely there. You know your stuff. You know what you're talking about. Let's dive into the Wu series, man. Let's get this Wu thing going on, bruh. What's your thoughts, man? Episodes 1 through 5 have been released. An American Saga, the WuTang story. They are doing their thing, building out what I would call, or at least I hope to be, a future series of episodes after they release. Hopefully, it evolves and continues, and we get to grow with these characters we're learning. But what's your thoughts, man? Tell me your feelings on the Wu joint.
Man, this mug amazing, man. I keep telling people, like, man, I tell everybody, man, you gotta watch this. You gotta watch this show, man. I think this show is the modern version of what the Jackson 5 movie was growing up in junior high for us. How that
Oh
Jackson
yeah,
5 came out. I think this is what that is in modern day. Like that was just so amazing, man. How they breaking stuff down. I didn't know that. For those that didn't watch the show, spoiler alert, but y'all know head up. I didn't know that.
spoiler.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Ghostface and Raekwon had beef like that, bro. Straight trying to kill each other, bro. I didn't know that. So
I didn't know that either.
yeah. So for me, it gave me that much more of an appreciation of what the group is, seeing that these are guys from different parts of New York coming together with, the beef they had and all this stuff. It's cool to see how, at the end of the day, how they come together to do what they're doing now to be who they are, man. So it gave me that much more of appreciation.
I agree, man. So like feelings, man, as I like started to like really just take each episode one at a time and just getting a kind of overview of what was happening and getting an understanding. It was so unique because like you said, just even out the gate, they hit you with, okay, here's these different characters. Here's this internal beef inside of our own area. So like people who I got listeners from all over, to be honest, G. And for people who don't know about New York, there's boroughs and there's different places within those boroughs for that's all considered around New York. And one of the smaller boroughs is considered Staten Island. At Staten Island, there's two places, Stapleton and Park Hill. So with that being said, they are saying out the gate, there's an internal issue, beef going in between people from Park Hill and Staples. So I'm just like, okay. And you see they start to build out this beef like you're talking about. You see it's almost like we are saying we are competing against each other, almost kind of like the high school beefs we used to have. If you said you went to Jennings like we did, the person you talking to better not say they was from Berkeley or they automatically was going to be we got to fight, but we got to talk about how we better than them. You know what I'm saying?
Or stupid bulldog.
That's funny, man. So yeah. So I kind of like, I just feel like they're doing so great, just giving you like this picture of how, okay, this is where we come from, and this is like where all this is stemming from, and they show like even like it kind of like painted that great picture of what we got when we got the first WuTang album too, because if you remember on a lot of those songs, you can listen to the rawness of it. Like it feels raw watching this. It feels like, dude, this is so raw. I can see this actually happening the way they're portraying this. Like it felt raw, vivid. It felt real, and I'm sure it was a lot of more grimy stuff that goes along with it. They really can't portray on the series, but it just feels so relatable, man. It's so like, it's his own truth. You know what I'm saying?
No, most definitely. And I think that's what I can appreciate about it even more. Like it's the substance of it. It ain't just like fast food. They just rushing you 2 episodes. We all meet RZA. He got a beat machine. Oh, let's rap. And now they WuTang. Now you seeing the struggle these cats had. You seeing how like even now, like to see that they ain't even necessarily WuTang yet. And we're already 5 episodes in, but you got so much substance of who they are as individuals that it gives it that much more appreciation and anticipation and feel like, man, how it's gonna happen, how this gonna work out. You slowly seeing the pieces come together, but it still shows how good the writing, and you can tell that these dudes are all hands-on the story to be able to give such detailed information and such substance. I think the one thing I can say is that the substance of the show is what I can appreciate more than just some fast food straight to the music side of it. They showing like how they got there, so once the music came out, it's a much more of an appreciation to see how they got there.
And it reminds me too of it be like it's too many nuggets that's available in the WuTang saga. Number one is kind of like be yourself. RZA is portrayed as this guy who is not necessarily like everybody else. Like you can see him walk into a beat of his own path, a beat that was nobody else was paying no attention to. They saw he was very talented. They saw his music creativity, and this is just all being explained in multiple episodes. They're constantly like little snippets where it's just like, oh man, that beat is raw, man. You did that? What is that? Or your tape is popping. each time, like, RZA, man, you doing your thing. Like, they're giving him these praises, and he's got this internal. That's the next nugget. So it's like he could be his authentic self, but he's got this next internal struggle. This next struggle is like, I got pressure, the pressure from my outside influences, the pressure from my family on what I need to do. I have this pressure from my older brother saying it's time for me to step up, and he has to be like that because older brother has been filling that place from a young age as I'm the man of the house. Then you got, you know what I'm.
Yep.
And start thinking about all these little dynamics in there, you start to say like, oh man, look at that. Like, and it's difficult. You got a mom trying to play both roles, and it's hard. It's hard for, you know what I'm saying, difficult for any parent, whether it's a female or male, to say I'm finna raise a family, you know what I'm saying, without having another support person to help them out. So it's just kind of like, man, just looking at all these different dynamics. How the oldest brother, like, okay, I got to step up. Okay. And looking at, well, things ain't going right. I got sent away. They sent me away to my parents' parents. So my mom's parents' place, so I can grow up, and I had to stay the summer there or learn or do XYZ and get away from the bad influence and figure out, like, you start literally looking at a lot of stuff, and you can start saying, okay, I can relate to that. There's a lot of similarities here. I want to know your thoughts on this. We was kind of them creative dudes in high school as well. As you could tell, we still showing our creativity to this day. And we've both done some amazing things throughout life, but them dudes are the same cats, kind of like we were, man, just like having fun, and they just their craft, just like I'm having fun, but I'm gonna believe in what I can do. You know what I'm saying? Didn't you you went to the junior high as well, right, for Jennings?
I went to Jennings my whole life.
Yeah, that's what. And I remember, random as it sound, did you do a talent show in the junior high? Do you remember those days?
I remember them. I never got a chance to do it.
Okay, so I remember the talent shows as well. But I look at a lot of them guys. I remember thinking to myself, like, dude, you special to be up and just go and perform in front of your peers, like ain't nothing. And we would just whether it was dancing or trying to sing or do whatever, it was just like a time and place where it's just like, what? It just didn't seem realistic, right? And it just, and I just think about all the stuff I'm seeing right now in the WuTang Saga, and just taking back little times and periods. Like, there's moments in time where it's just like, okay, here's an opportunity. Am I going to take it by the horns, or I'm just going to, you know, saying, not, I'm going to sit back and not do it. I feel like if you got opportunity, hopefully you guys take this as nuggets, listeners. If there's an opportunity, take it. You know what I mean? Like, the worst thing that can happen is you learn from it. Even if you fail, you learn from it. Or the best thing that can happen, it turns out to be everything you dream. You know what I'm saying?
I think even nowadays, when you look at the present day, with, like I said before, when we originally talked about the difference between back then and now, like, whatever the opportunity you want to have, like, you literally have it at your fingertips. Like, you got so much software and so many programs. If you want to be an engineer or an artist, you can do all this stuff at home. They got programs where you can make short films, like, in your house. You can buy the stuff and, you know, and do all of it yourself. So, I mean, it's so many things. So if you got a passion for, like Roy was saying, if you got a passion to do it, man, like, you got YouTube, infinite tutorials on what you want to get out of life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I learned so much stuff just off YouTube alone. So there's so many things that you can learn and do, you know, just take advantage of it, study it, take it serious.
Man, like, so out of the characters on the Wu Saga, man, so is there anyone that stands out to you on them?
Oh, bro, without question. Whoever playing ODB is killing it, bro.
Oh, no doubt. So, okay, so his name is TJ Adams, Ashawn Unique, ODB. You know what I'm saying? So that's TJ Adams, bro, and he is without a doubt holding it freaking down, man.
He got dialect and everything. Hey, Sean, like, he got the dialect and everything, bro. He killing it, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate it even more because even from my own personal experience with music, I can't say that I was actually a Wu-Tang head, you know what I'm saying, growing up with that. But one thing I did connect to was ODB, mainly because even as an artist and the group that I had back in the day, Due Season, we were always out the box artists. Like if you know anybody that grew up listening to our music or knew us back in the day, like they all can testify, like we wasn't doing the same stuff everybody else was doing. We were just so weird. And even though we wasn't on ODB level as far as being so abstract and animated, we wasn't that on that level. But to see somebody being outside the box on that level, the hip hop level, I kind of connected to that. That's why I always had an appreciation for who he was and what he did. So yeah, even though I wasn't a complete,
I feel that, man.
I was completely into what he did. So I always appreciated that.
No doubt, man. So my experience, my personal travel to the Wu was very unique. So in the metro St. Louis area, it was a different dynamic back in the day. The Midwest, in my opinion, got a lot of stuff late. So St. Louis specifically got a lot of things late. It had already been popping and rocking. We were finding out about beefs and what was happening after everything had already been like almost close to dying down, man. So to me, we didn't have like a lot of stuff that what we have now. But I remember growing up, area that was the most popular coming up was like we had that down south love. The everybody was bumping Master P. Everybody was bumping like that anything that had real tough beats. It was really big on beats. The UGK was tough. There was a lot of stuff, but I was really hitting hard. But I started getting different exposure on what was happening with the Tupac Biggie beef really started to explode. So this is in high school, and because of Biggie's album, I heard Method Man. There's a Meth in Biggie's album because I was a heavily a Tupac fan in high school until I got to college and I became more of a Biggie fan, which is crazy, the dynamic shift. But when I heard Method Man, so I'm going into because the Biggie was 94 and the release when it really got to St. Louis hard was 95, and I had just got my car as a freshman. Started no, let me take that back. 15 and a half. I was right. 15 and a half freshman, and then my sophomore year, yeah. So you remember the Regal, man. So this is around. This should be like 95, late 95. I'm bumping Biggie. I'm all on the method. What I think the name of that song was with Biggie and Meth, and then that's when my explosion. Now Wu-Tang's already been dropped by now, and I knew some of the cuts. I knew Protect Your Neck. I knew the Wu-Tang classics from the 36 Chambers, but I wasn't deeply involved. This album, The Genius, Liquid Swords, my fave album of all time. Beast Mode album to me, man. I can listen to it all the time. Cold World, man. It's just one of those things where Jizza just really just took me like, okay, these dudes is serious. I need to listen to Wu-Tang, know what the heck they talking about. And it felt like me because I love martial arts. I was the same dude, like you said, when we were even younger, growing up, loving the Bruce Leroy, the everything from the Kung Fu movies on Sunday, from everything you can name off, bro. I was deeply immersed in it. And then you get to 1997, ODB is blowing up to 98 when the album is released for real, out in the area for us. It was just shimmy, shimmy, y'all, and oh baby, I like it raw, and it just went. It was just an explosion. I think everybody in Jennings loved ODB. Like it was something that I think, to be honest, bro, if we were in a different area, even if it didn't necessarily have to be East Coast up there in New York, place that got not as late. Like right now, it ain't no reason to be late because of the internet. But if we wasn't, because we wasn't so privy to what was popping and didn't know all that stuff, like it's just kind of insane to me, like the dynamic of what we were missing. But then all of a sudden we started getting more exposure of it, and I think that's what took our love for this thing to the next level. And it was like a unique time too. You know what I'm saying? Like very unique for the area because it was like the one place that didn't have nobody that really blew up on the hip hop, like blew up, except for that one dude. before
Domino.
Nelly. What was his name?
Domino.
Domino, exactly. You were so you of course you should know you was on the music scene hard, but you feeling me? What I'm saying though, you know what I mean?
No, almost definitely. I had to laugh, bro. You said Master P back in the day, bro. I had to think about that Seabourn trip, bro. That was hilarious.
Oh,
I,
you remember?
bro, I was like, I had to think about the Seabourn trip, bro. I thought it was some Master P. That's hilarious.
Man, that TRU, man, we had it was true. What else was that? Ice Cream Man. I mean, I'm just back in the day, it was just about beats. I mean, they could flow, but they wasn't flowing. They wasn't lyricists, man. Like they. I mean, let me not say that because people
They
gonna
were,
all of a
they were
sudden have. They was just a different level of lyricists. I'll just say that, man. They everybody's art is everybody's art. I don't have any. I would just say that it was a different level of lyricism.
yeah, they
Like they.
different. We was blasting Silk the Shocker during the summertime
Yeah,
on the whip.
I felt the shocker.
Well, we did.
Hey, if you, I ain't gonna lie, man. You listen to that stuff now. I'm like, what was I listening to, bro? I'm just being
We was them every day, bro, on the
every
whisk.
day, bro, every day, man. And then like I definitely evolved into. I definitely had an evolution as I went to college and got a little bit different exposure. I would say. So give me your breakdown, man. Give me your top feelings as which episode that really stood out the most. Is there a certain two or and I kind of give you mine after that.
I think the third one kind of stood out to me because you got a glimpse of what was slowly starting to happen. The third episode was when they did the rap battle, and you saw everybody kind of shine or get the opportunity. Like you first start seeing ODB. Like that's when he first started coming out. Like, yo, I can do my thing too. Then everybody got on stage, killed it. Even though RZA spotlight wasn't that good, it was still cool to see that. Like I said, it was the quick tease of what was going to happen. What we know now is WuTang. It was cool to see that little glimpse of them coming together that way. So that's the one that stood out to me the most.
Right, man. I actually like that episode a lot. I also thought the episode was that episode 4 when old boy died and the dude got shot for stealing all the drug dealer's chain.
No, that was the same episode 3.
That was same episode. Yeah, that was one of my favorites as well. So episode that definitely is probably my fave thus far to date as well. Just seeing the connection, and then like you know what, to be honest with you, that I thought was kind of weird. So you see this dynamic, it's weird, and then it was like, oh, they doing this extremely well. So if you notice, there are little hints that are like, yo, man, I'm not messing with power anymore. Divine, the older brother, who is like trying to say I'm the man of the house, is kind of like trying to build his own empire in the drug game. And he's like, I'm not messing with power, which is so Divine is the Stapleton dude. Power is the guy from Park Hill, and they have the difference of I think there's in a competition like we were talking about earlier. And if you there's little hints like they set it up like they've always been beefing, and there's never been any friendship there. And then as you start to peel back the layers, though, you start to see, and they pepper us with all these little things that said, wait a second. Like even from the latest episode, them dudes was cool. You know what I'm saying? Like they were tight. And then you start to peel back the layers some more if you're Wu heads, people who love WuTang, and you start to realize dudes are eventually all, you know what I'm saying? So like you start to say, okay, what is they setting up for us? What's the real story? And it's kind of like they're giving us all these little sample bites, like the appetizer, and we ain't even got the full course meal yet. And it's like, oh man, they hitting us with the, oh man, you gonna bring this out on me for real? You gonna give me this too, and you'll give me that? Like they doing an excellent job at that, bro. Excellent job. It's just 100%, and they dripping in different personalities at the right time. I had to struggle trying to figure out what characters were who sometime. Like I was like, oh, okay, now I see that Shotgun was supposed to be Method Man. And I would have never have guessed his passion for just flowing like writing everything down, and then all of a sudden you start seeing some of the old clips of how Meth, when he did a recent clip, he was like, bruh, he was spitting the flow with Black Thought. And if you see that
Yeah.
recent YouTube joint, he's like, man, I got Thought next to me, man. Let me next to me. I gotta go ahead. I gotta go into the phone, man. Let me get my lyrics out. And I just thought about, and you see the episode with him, like, let me write that down. That's dope. And he just like spitting hot rhymes. And it's like, bruh, like they are capturing truth. Like you can tell them dudes is working with these dudes, just like on Straight Outta Compton type deal. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh. Yep. You can always tell when people have a connection. Even the New Edition movie, like you can tell that they was firsthand on with those guys walking through there. So, but yeah, I think Dave East though, he killing Method Man too. That boy he got the dialect and everything down on him too.
He got it down, man. He got it down. But I didn't know it was Meth. I mean, I was just like, okay, who is this supposed to be? And I had to look it up immediately. Like everything explained itself later, but like it's just crazy. They're doing the exception. Like the one you definitely knew who ODB was. That was easy. You know what I'm saying? It was like ain't no confusing that. That's ODB. And then he was like, I didn't know that Jizza even had signings before and it didn't work out. Didn't know RZA was signed before. And it just made it piqued my interest to really start doing even further diving into what was really going on at the time, man. It's just crazy, man. All right. So during this time, man, I always like to put my featured guest on the spot, brother. You about to be on the spot, my friend. You have to answer something for me. And this is where it gets a little challenging because I give you, and then you need to take that and give me the answer. So let's do this on a music tip.
Let's see, bro. If I don't know the answer, I ain't got no shame in saying I don't know, bro. Let's rock.
Oh man, I trust, man. I feel pretty confident that you can hold this one down. All right, name for me. I'm gonna ask for one from R&B. I'm gonna ask Jeopardy style from the R&B side. The next Jeopardy style is gonna be from the hip hop side. That'll be the last one. Name for me 3 90s albums from R&B that you would consider true classics for my listeners to remember and check out.
Oh, bro.
90s, man. 90s.
Well, for me, I mean, you gotta go the second Boys to Men album because that was amazing. It went diamond in like 2 years, which ain't never been done in the history of music from any genre. So that one was a classic. You gotta go with Jodeci. Diary of a Mad Black Man. I think that's the name of the CD. The one with Cry for You.
Mm-hmm.
Is a classic also. And you gotta go with the Menace. I want to say the Menace to Society soundtrack with Top of the World.
All right. Okay.
That stood out to me. So even though that wasn't a completely R&B album, I would say
that Menace Society got some hip hop on it too, bro. So yeah, it's not a. All right, so now since we did the WuTang review, bro, I'm about to give you some Wu action. Hopefully you can get this on the hip hop side. Name, you can do it, man. I have faith in you, man. Name, as many members as you can from the Wu-Tang Clan.
RZA, Jizza, You Got, Raekwon, Ghostface, Meth. That's the OD. I ain't say ODB yet. ODB.
Nope.
Inspector Deck. I think that's all I got, bro. That's 8 though. I got 8, bro.
I only heard 7. You want to do it again? I only heard 7, man. I heard RZA. Start again. Do it again.
RZA, Jizza. I'm saying this name right. The Jizza. You Got, Inspector Deck, Method Man, Raekwon, Ghostface Killer, ODB.
Okay.
I think I'm messing up the second name.
No, you saying just right. You saying just right. So it's so you said inspector. You said so you and the unknown. They is. Did you say them all? Hold on, let me make sure. It's 9 of them, and then it's the 10th with Capadonna. That was recently added. RZA, Jizza. You got. Oh, you forgot Master Killer. That's the one you forgot.
Yeah, Master Killer.
You got nine would be Master Killer, and then and Capadonna is the 10th, who technically was added after the fact. And supposedly Capadonna is the dude that's in jail, FYI, with Divine. Did you know that? You did know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Okay. Yeah, man. So, hey, man, I appreciate you once again, man. I know I definitely got to get you back on the episode on another future episode, because I feel like you provide and that's what my podcast is about, man. I talk about persevering through life. I talk about feeling good, believing in yourself, being your authentic self, and not worrying about you being a little different. I know people sometimes fear and shy away from what society feels like you have to be. And sometimes society makes you uncomfortable in your own skin. But I want you to know that you are authentic just how you are. And if you can stay that way, you could be the best you could personally be. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. Darnell. You definitely provided a lot of info for my listeners. Tell my people where they can follow you at, where because I'm gonna put the information in the show notes, but tell them how to check you out, where they can, you know what I'm saying, subscribe to whatever you got going on.
Nah, mainly I'm mainly on my Instagram. The main thing is how you get in contact with me is my stage name is Darnell Lamont, but my Instagram is still my previous name. So it's Dub Junior Ivy League. So I spell it out. It's D as in David, U, B as in boy, JR, Ivy League. You know how you spell the typical Ivy League schools. So Dub Junior Ivy League is my Instagram page. So you can follow me there. DM if you want to know about more of my music. Connect from there, and you know that's mainly how you get a hold of me.
That's perfect, my friend. I appreciate you. In the Last Dragon, it's your host, RoyRob, signing out. Appreciate you, man, for coming on the episode and supporting the movement. Check out my boy, follow, and we are signing out.